Welcome to Modern Mystic Messages. I'm Teresa. Thank you so much for stopping by and clicking on the video. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back, soul family. I missed you. Well, for those who are watching just the uploaded videos, I missed you. I've actually been on live stream very recently, but I just had not been uploading to the channel as much. But I started in the 12th planet, and then Spirit kind of poked me a little bit to put a pin in that and go back and take a look at the book of Enoch before we continue on with the 12th planet. So I complied, and then I wanted to go back and read it again. I listened to it, but I wanted to go and read it. And so I decided to take you all with me. So we're going to get in here and get started on the book of Enoch. So without further ado, let's dig in, shall we? The words of the blessing of Enoch, wherewith he blessed the elect and righteous, who will be living in the day of tribulation, when all the wicked and godless are to be removed. And he took up his parable and said, Enoch, a righteous man whose eyes were opened by God, saw the vision of the Holy One in the heavens with the angels, with which the angels showed me, and from them I heard everything, and from them I understood as I saw, but not for this generation, but for a remote one which is for to come. So he already knew this was for, like I said, further out into the future. Nay, dare we say our generation? Somebody's might as well be from what we're looking at. Concerning the elect, I said, and took up my parable concerning them. The Holy Great One will come forth from his dwelling, and the eternal God will tread upon the earth, even on Mount Sinai, and appear from his camp, and appear in the strength of his might from the heaven of heavens. And all shall be smitten with fear, and the watchers shall quake, and great fear and trembling shall seize them unto the ends of the earth. And the high mountains shall be shaken, and the high hills shall be made low, and shall melt like wax before the flame. Now, it was interesting because when he's talking about the great one coming from his dwelling, it made me think about the emerald tablets of Thoth, with the dweller being in his aguanti um, in the halls of Amenti. And of course, they talk about the eternal God and treading upon the earth and all of that, the big G God. But again, we have to remember the time and place when he was doing all of this. Enoch was Noah's great grandfather. So this was even before the time of the flood that he was talking about this. And the earth shall be wholly rent in sunder, and all that is upon the earth shall perish, and there shall be a judgment upon all men. But with the righteous he will make peace, and will protect the elect, and mercy shall be upon them. And they shall be all belong to God, and he shall be prospered, and they shall all be blessed, and he will help them all. And light shall appear unto them, and he will make peace with them. Now this is dramatically different too, because Yahweh ain't really offering peace to nobody. He offers a whole lot of damnation and retribution. And if you don't get it right, I'm going to do this, and you better act right. In fact, he told Abraham, he Elion the destroyer, but don't get it twisted and don't make no wrong moves, basically. Or he was the destroyer. And behold, he cometh with 10,000 of his holy ones to execute judgment upon all, and to destroy all the ungodly, and to convict all flesh of all the works of their ungodliness which they have ungodly committed, and all of the hard things which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. And again, the more, even this is just the beginning of it, and I know the book of Enoch got some scary stuff in it and whatnot, but it's still, when I look at God, again, in the scriptures, and this was a scripture, or this is an apocryphal text, but I can't help but remember that wherever I see God, it should be Elohim. And because they're not specifically naming the Elohim, I have to stop and think about the attributes of which Elohim they could be referring to. Because truthfully, there's ever only been four if you include Alalu. But as far as what they outlined in the Anunnaki text, the others kind of accepted their position as part of a henotheistic pantheon. The only ones that ever has there been a real issue of sovereignty with was between Enlil and Enki, and then Marduk as an interloper was trying to take his powerful spot too. But ain't nobody never said nothing about ISIS trying to take over the world. Enlil and Marduk was on some Pinky in the Brain type stuff. Enki only wants rule. I ain't gonna say only wants because I'm not in his head, but truthfully, his desire to reign has always seemed to be motivated from a desire to help lead humanity into something more peaceful than what we're getting. He understands we got a raw deal. He wants to expand our consciousness, help us develop our spirituality so we don't stay stuck in this 3D consciousness loop, that we can actually expand and grow like he and Thoth were able to spiritually expand and grow. So when you listen to what's being said, he's talking about dwelling fairly with the righteous, dealing how, like I say, getting rid of the wicked ones, getting rid of the watchers who came and corrupted humanity and brought that darkness and all of that stuff. It's kind of obvious that the God that he's referring to would not be Yahweh, but it'll be the other one, Enki. It just, to me, it seems super plainly obvious when you look at what's being said and the nature of both of those brothers. Enlil ain't he. The scriptures say that God gonna do this and God gonna do that, but he, like you said, he was talking about doing that to his own people. Most of the retributions and wrath calling and the destruction and the threats and all that stuff that Yahweh did was threatening his own people about what he was going to do to them if they didn't stay in line. He wasn't talking about, and every little thing they did was hard. Like I said, go read the Mosaic Law. It was literally like any little thing they did. That's not what's happening here. He's talking about the ones that's been misleading humanity, the truly wicked and ungodly. They got to go. And it says, of all the hard things which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. And again, in the scriptures, they wasn't speaking against Yahweh. They've been bowing and scraping and kissing Yahweh's butt the whole time, worshiping to him and giving him their tithes and everything else. They've been busy painting Enki as the devil and Enki as evil and all the rest of that stuff. And he's like, y'all gonna put some respect on my name. You gonna back up off me. I'm gonna come through here and clean house. And when I do, you gonna have to put some respect on my name. Period. Observe ye everything that takes place in the heaven, how they do not change their orbits, and the luminaries which are in the heaven, how they all rise and set in order in its season, and transgress not their appointed order. Behold ye the earth, and give heed to the things which take place upon it from first to last, how steadfast they are, how none of the things upon earth change, but all the works of God appear to you. Behold the summer and the winter, how the whole earth is filled with water, and clouds and dew and rain lie upon it. This is further making me think they're talking about Enki, because Enki was the one that was mapping out the oceans and marking the seasons and naming the constellations and mapping out he gave us astronomy and astrology and meteorology and agriculture and all of that, the maritime laws, everything. He even shows up as Poseidon and Olokun in a couple of the pantheons. He's very much about water, water, water. So even he's, and all of the things he's saying, observe all of those things. That's everything that Lord Enki was about. Enlil wasn't about none of that. So when he's describing this God and talking about the things that this God is going to do and the things that this God has done, he's actually, the Elohim he's referring to me, is very obviously Enki and not Yahweh. Observe and see how in the winter all the trees seem as though they had withered and shed all their leaves, except 14 trees which do not lose their foliage, but retain the old foliage from 2 to 3 years until the new one comes. So I don't know if he's figuratively talking about trees here, or if they're a special breed of Anunnaki trees, or if he's just talking about evergreens. I don't know. We'll see later, I guess. And again, observe ye the days of summer, how the sun is above the earth over against it, and you seek shade and shelter by reason of the heat of the sun and of the earth. And the earth also burns, with growing heat, and so you cannot tread on the earth or on a rock by reason of its heat. Excuse me. Observe ye how the trees cover themselves with green leaves and bear fruit, Wherefore give ye heed and know with regard to all his works, and recognize how that liveth forever hath made how he that liveth forever hath made them so. Now, wait a minute. Observe ye how the trees cover themselves with green leaves and bear fruit, wherefore give ye heed and know with regard to all his works, and recognize how he that liveth forever hath made them so. A lot of the domestication and hybridization of a lot of the grains and stuff like that, that would have again been Lord Enki. In the 12th planet, it was talking about how um, what am I thinking? The anthropologists and stuff were noticing where how all of the grains seemed to kind of be they were domesticated in the Near East and spilled out into the rest of the world from the Near East. Several species, it talked about spelt and flax and all of these different things that started to be domesticated and the different and speciated. That was Enki. Remember him and Thoth had their laboratory, the House of Life, and they did genetic experimentations, animals and stuff, and they also did some stuff with seeds and crops and all that good stuff. Because even in the Lost Book, he was talking about bringing sheep from Nibiru and domesticating them here and all that for a food crop, all of that. So yeah, that again, this is more Enki knowledge. Um, and all his works go on thus from year to year, and all the tasks which they accomplish for him, and their tasks change not, but according as God hath ordained, so it is done. And behold, how the sea and the rivers in like manner accomplish and change not their tasks from his commandments. Or he could be generalizing, talking about the creator of all, but he definitely ain't talking about Enlil, because Enlil ain't do none of that. But ye have not been steadfast, nor done the commandments of the Lord, but ye have turned away and spoken proud and hard words with your impure mouths against his greatness. O ye hard hearted, ye shall find no peace. Therefore shall ye execrate your days, and the years of your life shall perish, and the years of your destruction shall be multiplied in eternal execration, and ye shall find no mercy. In those days ye shall make your names an eternal execration unto all the righteous, and by you shall all who curse, and all the sinners of the godless shall imprecate by you. And I looked up execrate and imprecate, and it basically just talk about cursing. And I was sitting there thinking about it. If this thing went down right about now I'm not saying it is, and I ain't no threat that no organization of any kind whatsoever, MIB, do not come for me. But they've been preaching and talking about it and praying for it and giving attention and all prophesying and everything else, trying to march humanity towards Armageddon. Now, we've looked at Revelation, and I don't think Armageddon quite mean what they think it mean. And everybody want to tell me I'm crazy because I'm reading that book and seeing something different than the church is saying. But if it go down like they say in the book in our lifetime, they talking about having full disclosure and all that. If Michael and the four horsemen and all the rest of them was to roll up on this planet right now and depose Yahweh, wherever he at, they know where he at, even if we don't, they know where he at, and they go ahead and handle business with him and all of them folks that run with him, that would be Illuminati and all of them other folks that got everybody running scared, and we so powerless against them, and don't nobody know who they are, but everybody suffering what they do. When the scriptures say, when it go down, they ain't gonna have nowhere to hide, and they cannot win against that one. They might be powerful against us, but they're not gonna be able to stand up against that other Elohim. If he came through and did that, and the humans who insisted on rolling with Team Yahweh went down with him, and they came through and completely cleaned house, don't you think that their names would be a curse for at least the next 1,000 years or so, if not forever? They would make sure that that was taken down in video format, HD, and some more stuff, and have about 15 different scribes writing it down to make sure that they can't twist that or turn it or deny, so that the next 50 generations will see what went down here. The days of them lying and sticking it under a rock because they done been digging it up 10, 50 500 years later and remixing the lie to something else. No, when Enki come through and handle business this time, it's going to be, their names will be cursed for a good long time on this planet. This is going to be a final showdown to put an end to the madness that's been rocking out on planet Earth. It said, all the sinners and godless shall imprecate by you. By you shall all who curse. And for you the godless, there shall be a curse, and all the, and it's lost in translation, it's just an ellipses there, shall rejoice, and there shall be forgiveness of sins and mercy, and every mercy and peace and forbearance. There shall be salvation unto them, a goodly light. And for all you sinners there shall be no salvation, but on you all shall abide a curse. But for the elect there shall be light and joy and peace, and they shall inherit the earth. And then there shall be bestowed upon the elect wisdom, and they shall all live and never again sin, either through ungodliness or through pride, but they who are wise shall be humble. And again, this is another way of saying what Revelation said when it said the meek shall inherit the earth and they shall reside forever upon it, that they'll beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning shears, and they'll learn war no more. And I think it says something about the wolf will lie down with the lamb, or the boy will lie down with the lion, or whatever, and he'll shepherd over them all, a little boy. It's something like that in the scriptures, but I don't know exactly where that's at, but it's in there. And they shall not again transgress, nor shall they sin all the days of their life, nor shall they die of the divine anger or wrath, but they shall complete the number of the days of their life, and their lives shall be increased in peace, and the years of their joy shall be multiplied in eternal gladness and peace all the days of their life. This is what I was talking about too. Being is how Yahweh, hold on, we're getting ready to go into chapter 6, but I got to mention this. Being is how Yahweh, Enlil, was the one who insisted on having our telomeres capped and limiting our lifespans. Doesn't it stand to reason that Lord Enki would reverse that? Since he is the primary geneticist on the project, he could very easily remedy that like that. Because truthfully, at the end of the Bible book in Revelation, it does say that humanity would live forever, or they have eternal, something like that. Now we get that the eternal life that they're talking about in John 3:16 is not an earthly paradise. It's about that spiritual ascension, so that your consciousness can expand and you can actually earn eternal life, immortality, to escape having to do this death loop thing. But even in the reigning, it said he'll reign over humanity for 1,000 years. It really seems to me like he's going to lengthen the telomeres again, that lifespans will change. And if you think about it, with the technology that we have and what he'll probably bring to the planet, if they stop poisoning the water and poisoning the food, stop stressing people the hell out, and uncap the telomeres, there's no reason why humans wouldn't live at least a few hundred years, if not 1,000. You know, doctors can't really figure out why we just stop, other than the fact that our telomeres wear out. And when our telomeres wear out, that's kind of the end for us. And it came to pass, when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of the heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose wives from among the children of men, and beget us children. And Simjaza, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. Now, again, don't get it twisted with this children of men and the angels, the children of the heaven. Again, the Elohim are the powerful ones. El Shaddai are the sons of the powerful ones. The watchers that was up on Mars, not angels. They're Anunnaki workers who was working in the gold mines, but when they moved part of that mining process, they moved it to Mars. So the majority of the workforce from Nibiru transferred to Mars to work on that way station, and they was mad because they wasn't getting to enjoy all the stuff that was going down here on Earth, and didn't have no women from Nibiru there. They was just there for thousands of years, ain't getting no nookie, ain't getting to have fun, ain't no partying, ain't no none of the rest of that. And when Marduk married Sarpanet, a human, they got mad and was like, "Damn it! If Marduk can do it, we can too." And they crashed the wedding, uh, the reception, and took women. But Semjaza was the ringleader, but he was scared to do it by himself. He was like, if I go and do that and y'all don't back me up, then I'm gonna take the fall. I'm gonna be the fall guy and take all this heat on my head. I don't want to do that. So he basically made them promise. They made a pact to all do it together. It's kind of all or nothing. That's why it was such a big problem. And they all answered him and said, "Let us all swear an oath and all bind up ourselves by mutual imprecations not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing." Then they swear they all together and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And they were in all 200, who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon, and they called it Mount Hermon because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual imprecations on it. And these are the names of their leaders: Simiazaz, their leader; Arkiba, Ramiel, Kokabel, Tamiel, Ramiel, Donel, Ezekiel, Barakiel, Asael, Amaros, Bataro, Ananiel, Zakiel, Samsapiel, Satarel, Turel, Jamjiel, and Sariel. Now there are a lot of different angel names out there floating around, but I do remember people talking about Barakiel and all that. I wouldn't mess with them if I was you, because they are not Team Yahweh. I mean, they are Team Yahweh, basically, or Team Marduk. Either way, same thing. It ain't nothing you want to mess with. They're not of the light. Those are the Watchers, the ringleaders. They each had the leaders. That was their names, and each of them had I think it was 10 or 12. What they were chiefs of 10. So each of them was the ringleader and had 10 other watchers behind them that invaded Earth and took women for themselves and created the Agigi and an abomination, and gave them dark magic and gave them a whole lot of forbidden information, and it caused a lot of problems. Anybody that's calling on any of those so-called angel names in this day and time would probably be doing themselves a great disservice. I'm just saying. And let's see. And all the others together with them took unto themselves wives, and each chose one for himself one, and each chose for himself one, and they began to go in unto them and to defile themselves with them, and they taught them charms and enchantments and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants, and they became pregnant, and they bare great giants whose height was 3,000 ells, who consumed all the acquisitions of men, and when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind, and they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. Then the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones. So them things were so evil till not only did they go in and defile the women, but the children that they had after them, those giants, went through and completely like decimated the forest. They were overeating, overfishing all the wildlife, everything else. And then when they had consumed all of the fish and the animals, they turned around and started killing and eating humans. And when they went through plenty of them, they turned on each other and cannibalized each other. Not good beings, not good energy. Oh Lord, here we go. The commercial. Bear with me a second. And Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones, and all coloring tinctures. And there arose much godlessness, and they committed fornication, and they were led astray and became corrupt in all their ways. Simjaza taught enchantments and root cuttings. Amaros, the resolving of enchantments. Barakiel taught astrology. Kokabel, the constellations. Ezekiel, that's not the same Ezekiel in the scriptures. I don't believe it's spelled different. Ezekiel, the knowledge of the clouds. Arakiel, wait a minute. Arakiel, the signs of the earth. Sham, Shamsiel, the signs of the suns, and Sariel, the course of the moon. And as men perished, they cried, and their cry went up to heaven. And then Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down from heaven and saw much blood being shed upon the earth, and all lawlessness being wrought upon the earth. And they said one to another, the earth made without inhabitant cries. Wait a minute. They said one to another, the earth made without inhabitant cries, the voice of their crying up to the gates of heaven. And now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men make their suit, saying, bring our cause before the Most High. And they said to the Lord of the ages, Lord of Lord, God of God, King of kings, and God of the ages, the throne of thy glory standeth unto all the generations of the ages, and thy name holy and glorious and blessed unto all the ages. Thou hast made all kings, and power over all things hast thou, and all things are naked and open in thy sight, and thou seest all things, and nothing can hide itself from thee. Thou seest what Azazel has done, who hath taught all unrighteousness on earth, and revealed the eternal secrets which were preserved in heaven, which men were striving to learn. And Simjaza, to whom thou hast given authority to bear rule over his associates, and they have gone to the daughters of men upon the earth, and have slept with the women, and have defiled themselves, and revealed to them all kinds of sins. And the women have borne giants, and the whole earth has thereby been filled with blood and unrighteousness. And now behold, the souls of those who have died are crying and making their suit to the gates of heaven, and their lamentations have ascended and cannot cease because of the lawless deeds which are wrought on the earth. And thou knowest all things before they come to pass, and thou seest things, and thou dost suffer them, and thou dost not say to us what we are to do to them in regard to these. So Michael, Raphael, Uriel, and Gabriel were like, Lord, you see, they down here making a mess. You put these fools in charge, and they down here acting up and causing a real problem on the earth. What you want us to do? We got to do something about this. They literally took it upon themselves to go and speak to, obviously, Enki, because again, like I said, Yahweh won't interested in nothing. He just let them rock out and do whatever. So they almost had to be speaking to Enki at this point. Then said the Most High, the Holy and Great One, spake and sent Uriel to the son of Lamech, and said to him, go to Noah and tell him, in my name hide thyself, and reveal to him the end that is approaching, that which the whole earth will be destroyed, and a deluge is about to come upon the whole earth, and will destroy all that is on it. And now instruct him that he may escape, and his seed may be preserved for all the generations of the world. Now, again, this is an abbreviated version. This is Enoch's version. In the Lost Book, they were talking about the fact that all of this stuff was happening. It was out of control. Humanity had received knowledge it was not prepared for yet. And again, it's not saying some of the stuff really wasn't even bad, but in the wrong hands at the wrong time, used the wrong way, absolutely it became a problem. Plus the fact of the Nephilim and the Agigi running amok on the earth, they knew that the flood was coming, and they saw that as an opportunity to reset. They was like, you done created these problem kids down here. We really can't do nothing with that. Let them drown in this flood. Let them all. And that's when Yahweh was like, let humans drown too. And Enki was like, no, no. And they took it up with the seven who judge on Nibiru and Anu and all of them. They took it to a vote, and other folks had agreed to just let everybody drown. And Enki, for love of humanity and his son Noah, and listening to the messenger from the creator of all, like I said, Galzu brought him a message saying that humanity was supposed to be preserved. But a large part of why they agreed not to do anything during the flood was because of the abominations that the Watchers had created by coming down there and doing that. And again the Lord said to Raphael, bind Azazel hand and foot and cast him into the darkness and make an opening in the desert, which is Dudael, and cast him therein. And place him and place upon him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever, and cover his face that he may not see light. And honestly, I think this is the thing that they be talking about when they were so afraid with the Euphrates drying up that they felt like it was that there was supposed to be a demon that was buried somewhere along the Euphrates, but again, if it's done in another dimension, I don't think we're gonna have to worry about accidentally freeing him. But then again, some of these darn priests and preachers and Satanists and all that, it ain't even no accident. They literally are trying to go find it and unleash it. That's how wicked and stupid they are. Anywho, let's keep going. And on the day of the great judgment, he shall be cast into the fire, and heal the earth which the angels have corrupted, and proclaim the healing of the earth, that they may heal the plague. Again, they did say that the lake of fire, it talks about Satan being cast in there and those who were with him. So all of these corrupt watchers and the folks who continue to rock with all his minions, whether they're human, Anunnaki, Watcher, a Gigi, whatever you want to call them, or otherwise, everything that's Team Yahweh, Team Marduk, any of the rest of that, that's been acting up and contributing to the negative crap that's been happening on Earth, is gonna go in that day. He, like I said, Enoch is doubling down on what Revelations said. And all the children of men, and that all the children of men may not perish through all the secret things that the watchers have disclosed and have taught their sons. Let me start over. And on the day of the great judgment, he shall be cast into the fire, and heal the earth which the angels have corrupted, and proclaim the healing of the earth, that they may heal the plague, and that all the children of men may not perish through the secret things that the watchers have disclosed and taught their sons. And the whole earth has been corrupted through the works that were taught by Azazel. To him ascribe all sin. Wait a minute. Yeah. And to Gabriel the Lord said, proceed against the bastards and the reprobates, and against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication and the children of the watchers from amongst men, and cause them to go forth. Send them one against the other, that they may destroy each other in battle. For length of days they shall not have, and no request that they, i.e., their fathers, make of thee shall be granted unto their fathers on their behalf. For they hope to live an eternal life, and that each one of them will live 500 years. He said they can want it. They can want in one hand and poop in the other. It ain't going to happen. The human ones, the Anunnaki ones, all of them, if they've been a part of that Azazel mess, they got to go. And the Lord said unto Michael, Go bind Shemjaza and his associates who have united themselves with women, and so as to have defiled themselves with them in all their uncleanness. And when their sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth, till the day of their judgment and their consummation, till the judgment that is forever and ever is consummated. In those days they shall be led off to the abyss of fire, and to the torment and the prison in which they shall be confined forever. Now, this was talking about this, they were having this conversation right before the flood. And if I'm not mistaken, the flood happened about 4,000 years ago. And again, they did say that there would be another cataclysm coming before the end of two more showers. Now, we don't know, it's 4,000 something. It could be 5,000, 6,000, but it was at minimum 4,000 years ago that we're talking about here with the flood scenario. So he's saying bind Shemzaza, bind Azazel, bind Shemjaza, and his associates who united themselves with women. And then when the sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations. Now, 70 generations, we call a generation 20 years now. But even back then, if 70 generations was 50 years, that'd be about what, another 3,500 years. We are coming down upon the time frame that he was pointing to. If it's in any way remotely near literal, 70 generations is right about now, like for real. Whether you consider it to be 20 years, if it was 20 years, that was 1,400 years passed by. If it was 50 years, it's 3,500 years. But either way, we got to be somewhere coming close. We're living in times that look exactly like what they describe in Revelation. And they acting a fool. They getting bolder and bolder. The governments don't give a rap happy. Religionists don't give a rap happy. People are miserable. Inflation is off the Richter. We got trafficking happening, and slavery happening, and war happening, and diseases and pestilences, and every single thing. Natural disasters, the flooding, everything they described in Revelation that was going to be happening right before Michael and all of them come in here and kick ass is actually happening. And Enoch is saying here the same thing, that they gonna come in and bind them for 70 generations, and then they gonna come in and clean house. They kicking ass and taking names. In those days they shall be led off to the abyss of fire, and to the torment and the prison in which they shall be confined forever. And that's again that Revelation thing. And whosoever shall be condemned and destroyed will from thenceforth be bound together with them to the end of all generations, and destroy all the spirits of the reprobate and the children of the watchers, because they have wronged mankind. Destroy all wrong from the face of the earth, and let every evil work come to an end, and let the plant of righteousness and truth appear, and it shall prove a blessing. The works of righteousness and truth shall be planted in truth for joy evermore. The only reason Christians, Jews, or any of the rest of them for that matter, but primarily this is an apocryphal text, so it was at one time very much tied to Christianity. But the reason they cannot accept any of this is because they team Yahweh. It's wonderful news. Whoa, hold on. It's wonderful news for anybody who understands what the Bible is talking about and ain't trying to make all of that stuff fit on Team Yahweh, and understands that Team Enki is a real thing and that he's going to come and deal with this. But for those that are still limping along, trying their best to follow Yahweh, they can't accept this. But honestly, this ain't even scary to me. This is wonderful because I'm really listening to what I'm reading. It lines right on up what Revelation says. And the timeline appears to be, we don't know the exact day or the hour, but we know it can't be too far off because of the things that are happening all over the planet. It ain't scary at all unless you own Team Yahweh. They just cannot accept that and don't want to hear it, because at the back of their mind, they want to say to what the devil gonna do and what Yahweh gonna do, but they know Yahweh ain't gonna call an end to none of that. He ain't called an end to the madness. He ain't put a stop to it in 2,500 years. And he done got them so convoluted in a religion that they believe that he was supposed to allow this to rock on for 6,000 or 7,000 years, not do nothing about it, and then come and offer his son as a blood sacrifice to clean up the mess, and then still let it rock on for another 2,000, 3,000 years after that and not do a damn thing about it. And that's a good thing. That's the religion that the Jews and the Christians are wholeheartedly embracing. So they know they're leaning on a broke stick somewhere in the back of their mind. They got to. Because if he were to actually allow his son to die to help this stuff go down, why would he still wait another 2,000 years on the other side of that before he do anything about it? And all they can come up with is our ways are not his ways. We don't know, but everything he do is right. He's still dragging feet. But I forgot, he drug his feet for a quarter of a century on the son he promised Abraham. He drug his feet for 500 years on the promised land, the land of Canaan that he promised the nation of Israel. Well, truthfully, he drug his feet longer than that because they still don't have it. But he had kept promising it to him. He don't fulfill his promises. Paul told you in Hebrews that none of the faithful men and women of old listed in the Bible had their promises fulfilled while they were on earth. Not one of them, according to the scriptures. So why Christians really think Yahweh gonna jump up to the mat and be their savior that's gonna ride them out at the end of the book? That is not referring to Yahweh. It's talking about Lord Enki and Yeshua. Because it ends up talking about Yeshua. And Yeshua was not Team Enki. He told them that Enki was he wasn't Team Yahweh, excuse me. He was Team Enki, but they try to make Revelation 21 be about Yahweh coming to clean everything up and dwell with humanity. No. Because Yeshua was not Team Yahweh. Yeshua told them that Yahweh was the devil, and Revelation 20 tells you that the devil is going to be bound and destroyed. So the Elohim that's coming in 21 can't be Yahweh, and that's the part Christians cannot accept, nor can Jews. Let me see. Yeah, it shall prove to be a blessing. The works of righteousness and truth shall be planted in truth and joy forevermore. And then shall all the... Wait a minute, let me make sure I got that right. Yeah. And then shall all the righteous escape and shall live, and shall live till they beget thousands of children, and all the days of their youth and their old age shall they complete in peace. And then shall the whole earth be tilled in righteousness, and shall all be planted with trees and be full of blessing, and all the desirable trees shall be planted on it, and they shall plant vines on it, and the vine which they plant thereon shall yield wine in abundance. And as for all the seed which is sown thereon, each measure of it shall bear 1,000, and each measure of olives shall yield 10 presses of oil. And cleanse thou the earth from all oppression, and from all unrighteousness, and from all sin, and from all godlessness, and all the uncleanness that is wrought upon the earth destroy from off the earth. And all the children of men shall become righteous, and all nations shall offer adoration and praise me, and all shall worship me. and the earth shall be cleansed from all defilement and from all sin and from all punishment and from all torment, and I will never again send them upon it from generation to generation forever. Now you know damn well that ain't Yahweh. What? This whole book is full of threats of all the stuff he gonna do to people if they get a little bit out of line. And wait a minute, what it say? He said, and he gonna cleanse the earth from all defilement, from all sin, from all punishment, from all torment, and he will never send those things upon it from generation to generation and forever. Yeshua told you his father don't judge. Didn't he tell y'all that in the scriptures? But Yahweh ain't never did nothing but judge, complain, punish, threaten, all of that. This Elohim right here say that is not his program. He getting rid of all of that. Sound good to me. Bring it on, Papa. You can stand behind that. You would mind worshiping somebody. Well, his worship ain't even worship. Look at Buddhism. But you know what I'm saying? If we were to continue with the worship gene for those who can't turn it off, you wouldn't mind worshiping a compassionate Elohim that was bringing in all of that, gonna actually do what he say, right? And ain't gonna put up with the mess that's been going on. Like you said, we're gonna have some equality here. We're gonna have health and health care and all of those things that make for peace and happiness. And we ain't gonna have all of this stress and carrying on. We're gonna have us a good time in peace. Anybody ain't with that program gonna have to get the F out. But we gonna have us a peaceful, good time here on earth. That's what he's saying. Who wouldn't stand behind that? Oh, the Christians, they can't get with that. They say we got to die and go to heaven first. And in those days I will open the store chambers of blessing which are in the heavens, so as to send them down upon the earth over the work and labor of the children of men. And truth and peace shall be associated together throughout all the days of the world and throughout all the generations of men. Before these things Enoch was hidden, and no one of the children of men knew where he was hidden and where he abode and what had become of him. And his activities had to do with the watchers, and his days were with the holy ones. And I, Enoch, was blessing the Lord of majesty and the King of the ages. And lo, the watchers called me, Enoch the scribe, and said to me, hold on, got a commercial. Enoch, thou scribe of righteousness, go declare to the watchers of the heaven who have left the high heaven, the holy eternal place, and have defiled themselves with women, and have done as the children of earth do, and have taken unto themselves wives. Ye have wrought great destruction of the earth, and ye shall have no peace nor forgiveness of sin, and inasmuch as they delight themselves in their children. Wait a minute. Oh. The murder of their beloved ones they shall see, and over the destruction of their children shall they lament, and shall make supplication unto eternity, but mercy and peace shall ye not attain. Now it's interesting because he still refers to Michael and Uriel and Gabriel and Raphael as watchers, but like I said, a completely different team. That's the A team versus Shemjaza's crew, basically, or ultimately Yahweh's crew. Sorry, I gotta hang now. Sorry, that's so gross, but I couldn't help it. It's making me sick. And Enoch went and said, Azazel, thou shalt have no peace. A severe sentence has gone forth against thee to put thee in bonds, and thou shalt not have toleration nor request granted to thee, because of the unrighteousness which thou hast taught, and because of all the works of godlessness and unrighteousness and sin which thou hast shown to men. Then I went and spoke to them all together, and they were all afraid, and fear and trembling seized them. And they besought me to draw up a petition for them, that they might find forgiveness, and to read their petition in the presence of the Lord of heaven. For from thenceforward they could not speak with him, nor lift up their eyes to heaven for shame of their sins for which they had been condemned. So they can't even talk to Enki no more. I mean, it ain't crazy. It's kind of, I get it, but he like, I'm done with y'all. You knew better. I'm sick of y'all been showing y'all behind since you got here. You should have went your butt back to Nibiru, but you stayed here. You wanted to f up like this. Well, guess what? Now you're gonna have to pay the price, because you should have never did this. Y'all went way too far. Then I wrote out their petition and the prayer in regard to their spirits and their deeds individually, and in regard to their request that they should have forgiveness and length of days. And I went off and sat down at the waters of Dan, and in the land of Dan, to the south of the west of Hermon. I read their petition till I fell asleep. And behold, a dream came to me, and visions fell down upon me, and I saw visions of chastisement. And a voice came bidding me, I tell to it the sons of heaven, and reprimand them. And when I awakened, I came to them, and they were all sitting gathered together, weeping. Abezjel, which is between Lebanon and Sineser, with their faces covered. And I recounted before them all the visions which I had seen in sleep, and I began to speak the words of righteousness, and to reprimand the heavenly watchers. The book of the words of righteousness. Wait a minute. Yeah. The book of the words of righteousness, and the reprimand of the eternal watchers, in accordance with the command of the great Holy One in that vision. I saw in my sleep what I will now say with a tongue of flesh, and with the breath of my mouth, with the great one, which the great one has given to men to converse therewith and understand with the heart. As he has created and given to man the power of understanding the word of wisdom, so hath he created me, and also given me the power of reprimanding the watchers, the children of heaven. I wrote out your petition, and in my vision it appeared thus, that your petition will not be granted unto you throughout all the days of eternity, and that judgment has been finally passed upon you. Yea, your petition will not be granted unto you. And from henceforth you shall not ascend into heaven unto all eternity, and in bonds of the earth a decree has gone forth to bind you for all the days of the world. Now this when it really got hot on earth for humans, because oh Lord, and that previously you shall have seen the destruction of your beloved sons, and ye shall have no pleasure in them, but they shall fall before you by the sword, and your petition on their behalf shall not be granted, nor yet on your own, even though you weep and pray and speak all the words you contained in the writing which I have written. And the vision was shown to me thus. Behold, in the vision, clouds invited me, and a mist summoned me, and the course of the stars and the lightnings sped and hastened me. And the winds in the vision caused me to fly, and lift me upward, and bore me unto heaven. And I went with them, and I went in till I drew nigh to a wall which is built of crystals and surrounded by tongues of fire, and it began to affright me. And I went into the tongues of fire, and drew nigh to a large house which was built of crystals, and the walls of the house were like a tessellated floor made of crystals, and its groundwork was of crystal. Its ceiling, got a piece of hair. Ugh. Its ceiling was like the path of the stars and the lightnings, and between them were fiery cherubim, and their heaven was clear as water. A flaming fire surrounded the walls, and its portals blazed with fire. And I entered into that house, and it was as hot as fire and cold as ice. There were no delights of life therein. Fear covered me, and trembling got hold of me. And as I quaked and trembled, I fell upon my face. 1 second, please. There we go. Its ceiling was like the path of the stairs, and the lightnings, and between them were fiery cherubim, and their heaven was clear as water. A flaming fire surrounded the walls, and its portals blazed with fire. And I entered into that house, and it was hot as fire and cold as ice. There were no delights of life therein. Fear covered me, and trembling got a hold of me. And as I quaked and I trembled, I fell upon my face. And I beheld a vision, and lo, there was a second house, greater than the former, and the entire portal stood open before me, and it was built of flames of fire. And in every respect it so excelled in splendor and magnificence and extent that I cannot describe to you its splendor and its extent. And its floor was of fire, and above it were lightnings in the path of the stars, and its ceiling also was the flaming fire. And I looked, and I saw therein a lofty throne. Its appearance was as crystal, and the wheels thereof as the shining sun, and there was the vision of cherubim. And from underneath the throne came streams of flaming fire, so that I could not look thereon. And the great glory sat thereon, and his raiment shone more brightly than the sun, and was whiter than any snow. None of the angels could enter and could behold his face by reason of the magnificence and glory, and no flesh could behold him. The flaming fire was round about him, and a great fire stood before him, and none around could draw nigh him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him, yet he needed no counselor. And the most holy ones who were nigh to him did not leave by night nor depart from him. And until then I had been prostrate on my face, trembling. And the Lord called me with his own mouth and said to me, Come hither, Enoch, and hear my word. And one of the holy ones came to me and waked me, and he made me rise up and approach the door, and I bowed my face downwards. And honestly, we're going to stop there. We're at the beginning of chapter 15. So I'll be labeling that chapters 1 through 14. And then we'll take up tomorrow at 15, or in the next video at chapter 15. But this is getting pretty good. So definitely want to stick around. Come back, tune back in for chapter 15, and we'll get it rolling at that point. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and please do a solid and give the video a thumbs up if you got benefit from it and enjoyed it. Until next time, soul family, peace and blessings to you. I love you. Namaste.